Hello everyone, and welcome back to Farmer Joe Homesteading. It is a fairly crisp fall morning today, but we have had so much going on in the last couple weeks, so I can't wait to get into this week's farm update. We're going to be talking about which goats have been bred, bunch of new rabbit litters, and some rearranging with the chickens again. So stick around and join us for another fun farm update. Since I am here anyways, we'll talk about the goats. The little guys got castrated, so if you haven't, make sure you check out that video we did last week of these little guys getting castrated. They are already getting pretty old, so it was time to get it done because they've been mounting a lot of the does. We also, in the last few weeks, have made ourselves a granary turned into a beautiful milk room. So make sure you have a look at our video on using our new milk machine, because it has been a total game changer with our herd, and I can't wait to show you guys this milk room. It was so much fun. So the milk stand was always over in the goat shack. The goat shack is what we call the red building shelter that has been in the goat pen. But the biggest problem with it was the doors, because the girls would push and push and push the girls that weren't getting milked because they wanted in to get the grain. And it was just a real disaster trying to milk goats while you've got other goats pushing, trying to get in. So we ended up deciding not to do that any longer because it was just becoming a nightmare. So the options were to build a new space or find a current space on the farm that's not being occupied to use for milking, which is how we ended up using the granary. With this year being a drought year, there has been no grain harvested, which means that this granary will sit empty for at least another year. With the permission of my father-in-law, I started getting to work turning this granary into a milking space. Now, it was already empty because it was just grain. So I really just needed to disassemble my current milk stand, which was super easy because it was all screwed together, and then move it over to that space and put it together. I didn't have a proper feed trough area for them for quite a while, so it was quite entertaining for the first bit, milking them, and then the kids and I ended up making a quick feeder, which was super easy and was just enough to get some grain for the girls while milking, and that has made milking so much easier. So we now have a really awesome new milk space for the girls, which we've been using for both our hand milk girls and our machine milked girls. And it's just, I'm really excited to have a nice, clean, warm space when the snow comes, because it's definitely really chilly here, and milking in -30 with a nice, clean space would just be ideal. So the milking is definitely the most exciting thing that's been different here on the farm, and I am totally in love with my milk machine. I will never go without now, especially for my girls, Luna and Star, whose bags are just not ideal for hand milking. I still hand milk Mama, and she is now over 18 months in milk, and she is just a superstar. We love her bag, love her milk. So we are still milking her by hand, but those twins, when we need the milk, we separate the kids and we get the milk from them with the machine, and it has been just gravy. All right, so now we will talk about the does that have been bred in the last few weeks. First up, we have Miss Ivy. So Ivy bred to both of the bucks because, well, mostly because our Sonnen is pretty naughty and he's really good at figuring out how to get out. So she bred to Buddy before I could catch him, and only bred to him once, and then she spent the rest of the day with Finn. So I'm hoping that'll be a good thing. But she has a really awesome bag. I'll see if she can stand still. Probably not. She does have an awesome bag like her sister. We've been milking her sister there, Ivory. So I'm hoping, if she did end up breeding to Buddy, we will know because the kids will be pure white, just like all our other girls that are pure white. So if she bred to Buddy, they'll be pure white. If she bred to Finn, they should be pretty colorful. I mean, Finn himself is pretty colorful, and she's got some color to her as well. So we should be able to easily tell the difference between the kids. If she happens to have a pure white doe, I would probably consider keeping it because it can go in the milk herd and have really good, it can go in the milk herd because it have a really nice bag, but it could also just be part of the meat herd as well. So having the crosses is definitely no big deal. So debating that. And so I definitely was a bit disappointed that Buddy was able to get her quick before I could do anything about it, but she did spend the rest of the day with Finn, so I'm pretty confident that she'll have kids from Finn regardless. Now for the boys, we had moved Buddy way over there, which is actually where Eddie the ram is right now, but Buddy figured out how to jump out, and while he was out, he bred my sweet girl Eloise. Now I only saw him breed once, but she was definitely in standing heat the next day and the day after, so pretty sure he got her, which is not really the end of the world. I am extremely excited about her. She's one of the does that I'm really excited about milking. She just has a really nice bag, really sweet personality, so I am not sad about that whatsoever. So if she doesn't catch, she'll breed with all of the rest of the young girls that she's supposed to breed with in November anyways. Hi, you. So we'll just keep an eye on her. If she comes back into heat, great. If not, then we know that she will be due at the beginning of March with the rest of these girls. Now that's it for girls that have bred, but I've been keeping a close eye on Mama. She should be coming back into heat this week, and we got nothing, and she is actually starting to dry up. So you can see her bag there, definitely drying up. She gave me quite a bit less milk than she did before. Luna still hasn't come back into heat, but her little guy is only about six or 7 weeks old right now. And then Star, I believe, is in heat today, or she's coming in soon. I can see she's got lots of dirty, you can see how dirty her hind end is from being mounted, and her hind end is a little bit puffy. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on her, because if she is, then we will think about breeding her. We're going to be breeding Star to Mr. Finn instead of Buddy. So we'll keep a close eye on her and then make the decision when the time comes. And that is really it on breeding news, because the little girls are really hard to tell. They because they're all bottle fed, when they come into heat, they just like cling to me and they just want me, and they're really needy and they're bawling and bawling. So they haven't really figured that out yet, that they should be over there pacing the billy fence, letting me know. So it's not like the big girls. The big girls, they pace the fence. They stand there flagging, they pee, they're gross, they let the boys pee all over them. But the little girls don't quite have that figured out. So they're definitely harder to keep an eye on. But we only have, out of our 11 does, we now only have 3 that have bred. So we have a long ways to go. We are still planning on breeding the young first fresheners next month for some April kids. Just it'll be a little bit warmer weather, and then all of the big girls will be done by then. So we are hoping to continue with that plan. So we only have a few of the big girls left that need to be bred this month, and then we'll wait a couple weeks, and then when we start getting those heat cycles in beginning to mid-November, then we'll start breeding the little girls. Now, we do still have one very pregnant ewe. She's getting really uncomfortable. We've been noticing, we can see her babies like rolling and hopping around in there. She's definitely getting really close. Her bag is filling up and she's really loosened up in the back end. She probably won't let me get too close to her. She's still not very friendly, but I can tell by her bag that she is getting a bag, and she's definitely, when she's wiggling her tail eating breakfast, I can see how loose she's getting. So still on baby watch for our ewe. Well, speaking of the sheep, did you know that rams will breed goat does? Because I didn't until we had that problem. So I mentioned that Buddy and Eddie had to be moved over to this big pasture. It was because Buddy was trying to breed the doe, and then once we removed Buddy, then Eddie here bred Ivy a couple of times before I could get in there and get him separated. He got super aggressive, super territorial, and was actually beating up our billy goats to keep Ivy, the goat, away from them so that he could have her and breed her. So we realized that was going to be a huge problem. Obviously, I can't have a sheep breeding my goat, so had to remove him. So he is now in solitude over here and not having a good time, but I can't have him damaging all of my goats, so he has to be here, and I can't have him breeding all of his ladies yet. He has a couple more weeks to wait. So he is not a happy camper right now, but it is for the best for everyone. So he has his own food and water over here, and when the time comes, he will get to be with his herd. All right, guys, so the coops, not really a lot has changed other than a lot of these girls are molting, which means we are hardly getting any eggs. So during this time, they are getting lots of growers still. And then I did clean up and revamp their coop, so I'm going to show you that. So because we do the deep litter method, I actually didn't clean their coop. I just added more clean bedding to their coop, which was so hard. It's so hard in the fall to not clean out the coop. Like I really wanted to get rid of, like, there was at least 4 to 6 inches built up over summer, which is what you're supposed to do, but I wanted so bad to clean it out. But I know in the long run it'll be better for the birds to just keep adding fresh layers of bedding so that they have more insulation and it keeps them warmer in the wintertime. So they got fresh bedding, and I revamped all of the nest boxes, and the hens are already in love with their coop again. So the coop smells like beautiful fur. We get shavings from a family down the road, and he mills fur, and so it smells amazing in there, like beautiful big fir trees. So the coop smells amazing. They've got still that insulating layer underneath, and as the winter goes, as needed, we will just add more and more layers of shavings. Last year, I ended up using some straw and hay throughout the year. Huge mistake, because then when it was time to clean it out, all of those straw and hay layers packed down, and then you can't shovel them out. They just become like a hard matte layer. So not doing that again. Going to stick to using my bag of shavings and see how that goes for the winter. But so far, smells good in there, it looks good in there, and the hens are enjoying it. We do still have some little chickies in here as well. We just turned the incubator off. That's the first time that I have turned them all the way off in a long time. So we ran from January to July. I took like 2 or 3 weeks off and then started up again and ran from end of July, beginning of August, all the way until now. So it was a long run. It was 10 months of incubators running. it was a really fun year, really loved it, and I'm really excited to do it again next year, but it is nice to have this little break and reprieve as we get into winter. So in addition to the old girls not really laying, the pullets hadn't been laying very well either. So I've been making sure that their feeder stays full so that they have lots of food. I gave them some oyster shell, and I went ahead and revamped all of their boxes too and filled them right full of straw to hopefully encourage these young girls to get in the mood and think about laying eggs. We are losing daylight super fast right now. So by 7 p.m. it's dark. So it's starting to get short enough days that we are going to need to start running some light to get these girls going. So I'm hoping to run light until December and then let the girls have a break before January, because with these young new pullets, I need their eggs to be a good enough size to be able to use for hatching eggs. So they need to start laying here soon to get their eggs to be a good size before they quit for winter. All right, guys, now on to the hutches. Well, first things first, I finally actually turned the frame into a rabbit hutch. So we had a major issue. The junior does kindled before I thought they were going to. So our beautiful little opal one kindled. She had 6 and killed them all and was eating them. So they had to be removed. Then the next day, our white junior doe kindled. She had 9. They'd killed 3 of them, so I removed everybody, kept just the white doe in there. She made it another couple days before she slowly started killing them one by one by one. So that was super, super awful. Now, I kept forgetting and having to remind myself that this is pretty typical for the first-time does. I only had one first-time doe last year have a successful first-time batch, and even then it was touch and go. Like, she would forget to feed them sometimes, I think. So it was really disheartening, but it's pretty standard, typical, which is why I bred the junior does now, because now all of them have had their first litter at 6 months old. Now, coming into next year, we have a little bit more experience, and hopefully that means that from March until October next year, they will have it figured out. So this is what ended up happening. So our other doe, Kada, Farmer Joe's special rabbit, she didn't kindle yet, but she is heavily pregnant. And when I checked the dates, she bred on the 12th. So she should be due by the time I upload this video. So she got a brand new hutch. I had a really good friend of mine come over and we built this in a day. So I'm really proud of it. I think we did a fantastic job, especially in a day with 4 kids running around. So that was really good. We got that done. So the white doe that had slowly kind of killed off all of her kits, she did have one surviving in the morning when I checked. And so it actually now lives with Amber's kits, who are a week older. And if you know anything about rabbits and you've seen our video on the first month of a rabbit, they grow incredibly fast. So that week, you can definitely tell the difference, but that little thing is toughing it out. It's surviving, and it is still obviously getting milk and staying really warm with all of its big siblings, keeping it warm. So that little one is surviving, and we are not rebreeding any of these does. We're going to wait, and we will rebreed them again in the spring. This hutch does have another side to it, so it's still got the ramp style, and then a nest box here. We need to put something here to fill that space, and we need something to fill the end here. So this will be the nest box area. We'll build an actual box to go in here for them, and then they have this space. So this is what it looks like underneath, and it is a wire bottom this time. And then it needs a proper roof. Right now we have a temporary roof just so that our poor girl here can have her kits in peace, and then we will build a proper roof for this hutch, and then this side will be for the opal doe. So that is what's happening right now with the rabbits. It has been a bit of a gong show, to be honest, but we're getting it figured out, and by winter, everybody will be settled in and will be ready to go. We have been having a pretty typical fall right now. So the geese are not laying. Last year was the first time I'd ever had goose eggs in the fall. This year, we are not getting goose eggs. They're not breeding. They're not even thinking about it because it has been a normal, cool, cold fall. So that's been actually really nice, not having to worry about them and not having to worry about incubating goose eggs in October. All right, guys, that is all that I have for you this week. 2023 has been a jam-packed year. If you are new to our channel, make sure you go check it out. There has been so much happening here on the homestead. Give us a subscribe. It would mean so much to us that we are getting so close to our goal of 1,000 for this year. We hope to see you guys next time.